Hey guys, welcome back to Ollie Talks Airsoft. Today, it's a bit of a mixed bag video, but ultimately it's a disassembly of the lower receiver. Or more to the point, it's kind of taking the trigger box out of the Marui MWS. So this is the lower that I'll be taking apart in the next part of the video. You'll see that I do get more and more frustrated throughout the process. So it's kind of worth watching for that. But it's also worth noting that I wanted to just leave this up in full rather than cutting it or anything like that. So at the point that I actually try and get the trigger box out, it's about a 25-minute long section. The reason I've left it in there is because I think it's important that other people, when you're trying to take this apart, when you realise that it is taking a long time, realise that it took me a long time, and don't feel bad that it's taking you so long and that the progress is slow. So I don't really expect many people to like sit through all of this, but if you want to, fair play, thanks for doing so. That would be brilliant. But in reality, yeah, it's a pretty I don't even know what the nice way to put it is. It's quite stressful. Like the first time that you do it, yeah, by the end of the video you can see I'm just smacking it. I'm pretty raging. So if you want to see me getting more and more angry with my MWS system while I'm trying to get the trigger box out, then yeah, enjoy this next part of the video and I will see you at the end. So with the lowers separated, the next thing I'm going to do is actually take off this pad lever here. So I'll just do that now. So I'll do these one at a time. The next thing that I'm going to do is, you can do this a number of different ways. There's a couple of different things that you've got to do. Basically, this pin here has to push out and it will always go through that way. So it's going to push from left to right. So let's just do that now. If you don't want to scratch the pin up, I recommend get your punch, put something over the top of it, like that. Line it up and give it a smack. And you'll see as it comes out, there's actually just there, you can see there's actually a little ridge on there. So we'll just push this all the way through. There you go. And as you can see, it's not halfway down. It's part way across. So it's important to know that it goes in like this, and that's where it'll actually sit. Next thing we're going to do, let's take off the mag catch. So what you're going to want to do is press in on here. I tend to just use a punch or something like that. Again, if you don't want to scratch it up, use something like that. I don't really care too much. So we're going to get it scratched. So we're going to press it in and we're going to wind this forward. And cool, there you go. Put a nice scratch down the side of it there. When you get to about there, normally, if that goes in, this has popped out far enough that you can just unscrew this. And you'll have your end piece, then you'll have your spring, and then that will just push through the other side. So that's the three parts for your mag catch. Right, next part that you're going to do is there is actually a screw in the bottom here that you're going to need to take out, which is a Phillips head. So I'll just grab my Phillips head. Okay. So yeah, basically you're going to go in and you're going to get this screw in the back here, just straight out. More than likely, yeah, it's bloody stiff. It's like Loctited in there, I think. I'll do this when I've got it out. Yeah, it's definitely Loctited, because even though it's undone all the way, you still have to pick the screw out. Okay, so we've now basically taken everything out of here, with the exception of the selector. So put it between semi and auto, push from that side, spin it all the way around forwards, and it'll pop out. There we go. Right, there is now nothing holding this this trigger box in. So make sure that the pin at the back here is out, and we're going to try and ease this up. So I'll tell you what, let's give it a few nudges of encouragement. Okay, so we're in the process of taking the trigger box out of the MWS lower. So I filmed some footage a little while ago, and that's what I've just shown you, which is me getting to the point of actually taking the trigger box out. But I realised there was basically no point in me doing it at that time because I didn't have anything to put in there. So what I've got here is one of the Revanchist or something. Basically, this is a lightweight Z plate, which is going to allow me to use a bad lever with it. So this is the stock one. I weighed this before. Comes out like 14 grams or so. This is about 3 grams. Appears to be very well made. CNC is nice. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to proceed with actually taking the trigger box out. So obviously we punched out all of the different things, and now it's just a case of actually taking it out. So the way that I actually prefer to do this, and bear in mind this has never come out before, so this is as tight as they come. So what I'm actually going to do is remove the trigger guard, or at least part of it, and then going to turn this upside down, and I'm actually going to put something just behind here and give it a few taps just to encourage it. Now, to show you what I'm actually pressing on, this is an MWS aftermarket trigger, which I may end up putting in here, so stay tuned. But it sits in there like that, so we're actually going to be pressing on this part here. And as you can see, that's not the ideal part of the trigger box to be pressing on. The part that you need to be pressing on is these outside, or sorry, the inside taller parts here, which are a little bit darker. So the actual trigger box itself, when you look through, usually through the selector hole, you'll notice there's almost a line halfway through. That's actually the difference between the outer body of the gun and that trigger box that's being held inside. So what you need to do is, essentially, the best way to do it is to get in and just put pressure upwards here and ease it out little by little. So you can push it up a little bit at this end, and you can ease it up a bit at this end, and you can push it up a little bit at this end and ease it up a little bit here. But in order to get it started, they just seem incredibly difficult to start off with. So what I'm going to do is you have to do this very, very gently, because obviously I'm not touching the actual trigger. Well, I'm touching the actual trigger. I'm not touching the trigger box, which is really the bit that I want to be. As soon as I can get any purchase on the trigger box, that's what I need to be doing. But this very first time of taking it off is always going to be a little bit tricky. So I'm just going to give it a few taps. Not much, not hard at all. If you do choose to do this, you're kind of doing it at your own risk, so be warned. So let's see where we are. Okay, we seem to have got a little bit of a gap there between the front of the trigger box. Actually, we can see at the side through that hole, the pinhole is now almost at the very top. So there you go. If I push that down now, we have got a tiny amount of movement. So this is almost how you have to do it. You have to just keep on going in at the edge and trying to just encourage it downwards. Obviously, if you're going to be hitting against the actual receiver itself, that's not going to do anything, and you don't want to go in and start to be honest, you don't want to start hitting against any sears or anything in there. So you want to try and keep it so you're only hitting or encouraging out the actual trigger box itself. So again, go a little pull up on here. You can see again we are creating a little bit of space, and here again you can see it's pushed up ever so slightly. So it is coming, but this is, you know, the hardest part generally. So right, let's go in again. This one's like a tiny bit thicker. Let's give this a few more taps. Not much movement there at all. Didn't feel like there was anyway. And I'm going to go in here. Let's see if I can get something in there. Give that a little pry apart. So again, I'm making a few little scratches here and there. I'm not too worried. Let's try from this side again. Try and be careful not to actually hit any of the sears. So that looks pretty good. See, I can hit this a lot harder because this is now pressing against the edge of the trigger box. When I'm pressing against here, obviously this is effectively pressing against a sear, so I do want to be really, really careful when I'm doing any kind of tapping around here, because, yeah, be warned, guys. Okay, look, I'm starting to see some more movement there, and we can start to see that it's starting to come up. So always make sure this pin is out. Keep checking, because sometimes it can sort of try and sneak its way back in. But again, keep trying to ease it up little by little. So it is coming, it is coming. So trying to push against the other side now, because it's quite a steep angle here. I know I've already scratched it, but I don't really want to scratch it up kind of any more than is necessary. So it seems like this front end is a little bit stuck, so I think I need to give it a little bit of encouragement here. Oh. Let's go with something slightly sharper. And again, I know I'm not hitting perfectly down, I'm just trying to get a good purchase on it. Yeah, that's, again, so test it again, see if I can get any part of it up properly. No, still not. We can see that we are slowly but surely making progress on this. Let's keep going. Sorry, this is going to be long, but ultimately, guys, this is the first time that you do this. This is what it's going to be like, and you probably will be quite concerned about how long it's taking, or but it's ultimately, you know, it's not a quick or easy process really. So you don't want to pull up on any of these parts in here really. I'll see if I can get in at the back there. No. Okay, I think we need a few more hits at the back here, or a bit more pressing. I might just have to stand up for this. Putting quite a lot of force down on this. And again, it's not particularly wanting to go. Again, we are slowly but surely making our way. It seems, again, pretty straight, which is good. I might be able to get my... Now we've got a much larger, as you can see, there's a gap just here, which hopefully you can see, which is starting to enlarge now. So I'm going to go in with a flat head and see if I can spin it, just to push it up a little bit, or if I can get it from underneath. Yeah, that's probably the way to go, isn't it? Again, I'm smacking that pretty hard because it's part of the actual outside of the trigger box. You can see the Z plate there, almost completely exposed. You can start to see the pin for it now as well. But we're not there. Let's keep going. So, furthermore. Yeah, it's a really tight angle now for me to get in there. It's still very, very firm in there. So we will persevere. Okay, so no, you see, I can't actually pry it now because it's too far up. So I think the only way in is maybe in at the back here. That's bending the screwdriver right there. I just need it to come out now. It's there you go. Tiny bit of movement. That's all we need. We just need a little bit by little bit. It needs to come up. So yeah, a little bit more. Let's try this one. So yeah, when you guys at home are struggling with getting one of these out, don't worry, that's very, very normal. We all do, especially the first time that you get it out. It's an absolute nightmare. As you can see, I'm having a bit of an absolute nightmare here. But again, you know, the pin is slightly more exposed, so we know that we're definitely moving this in the right direction. Albeit little by little and very, very slowly. So that's where we're going to go in now. We're almost a bit too fat for the back of there now, but okay. Again, this, you know, it's unbelievably stiff. Like, yeah, this thing's pretty unreal. I'll see if I can just push on the trigger itself. I don't think I can get enough force behind it, to be honest, without just breaking my thumb. So we will continue. So drag up on the front here. Now, I might just go on the front of the trigger a little bit, so just to compare what's the front going to look like. Oh, this should be okay. Again, this is very much not the recommended way, but I think my frustrations with this are starting to like shine through, because it is bloody frustrating trying to get one of these out. And ultimately, you know, I'm just doing a little bit of scratching up to the inside of the gun there, so that's not really going to fuss me too much. Okay, so I'm going to go in from this side. Just again, not an ideal spot to be pressing on. I don't think anywhere really is, to be perfectly honest. Just make sure that this way up is better. This is, you know, pretty painfully slow progress. Right, I'm going to go in underneath here, I think. Got a tiny gap that's opened up just under there. I think I'm going to go for that. Yeah. Just get over something small. I'd be pushing up. Pull up this hand as I do it. No, just causing a few little scratches there. Again, guys, if you don't want to scratch your gun, then maybe get a professional to do this. But, you know, you're on my channel, so you're clearly a bit more interested in gunning in yourself, and you're probably a bit like me, where you're not as So just confirm, by the way, this part is still off the table. I'm not just like hammering against nothing. So, right, I reckon I can get in behind here. Need something a little bit thinner. Oh, do you see that tiny bit of movement there? That tiny bit of movement gives me hope. Yes, here we go. It's on its way. It wants to come now. It wants to come out. Ooh. See that there? You can't see through the holes anymore. We're really pretty close. Bit more encouragement. One end, the other end, come on. Oh yeah, the zepplin's gone underneath, that's fine. Doesn't really matter. So, even when it's got all of that movement, it still does not want to come out. These things are tight. Come on. Keep going, keep going. It's pretty unbelievable, really. Oh my goodness. No, this is all going to be done in one go. I'm determined to just do this all in one go so that other people don't feel as bad about it taking fucking blood, sweat and tears to get one of these fucking trigger boxes out. Like, it's bending my shitty tools. Like, just give me a freaking break. It still doesn't want to go. That all the way through. Does it want to move? Jeez. It's nuts. Like, this is actually insane how tight. I swear it wasn't this tight the first time that I did this. I remember it being tight and an absolute pain in the proverbial, but this is like an absolute, it just feels like a complete another level of difficulty. Come on, each time it moves a tiny bit. Look at this, come on. Come on. Right. Fuck, oh my god, it still will not fucking come out. Right, that's how you take the Z plate off. You can then remove these parts here, like that. Nice and calmly. Why, absolutely savage, this absolute bastard. Get out, right. That was exhausting. So there you have it. I did actually film the next part as well, which was me putting it all back together, but I didn't focus the camera properly and my hands were so white and blown out on the camera that the footage is basically unusable. However, it's essentially, you just push the box, you push the trigger box straight back in and you can like tap it on the top. So it's not really difficult. It's not as hard as, it's 5 minutes genuinely compared to the best part of half an hour to get all of it out. So that's definitely something to bear in mind. Also, if you're just looking to change out the Z plate to a lightweight one, obviously you'll see that I had that revanchist lightweight Z plate that I'm basically putting in here as well. I'm actually not even sure if that's in this video or the other one. It's all kind of got a bit confused. It's been a very long day. And as you can see, like a pretty frustrating one as well. But the results at the moment, my other video's already gone up, so you've probably seen my the trigger that I've got on this now. Which is really nice. Obviously not how they start out. But in order to get that, obviously you've got to take the trigger box all the way out. But if you're just replacing the Z plate, you can get away with pulling it about halfway out. You can then slip that Z plate out, put a new one in, and then push it back in again. And that's sort of less interruption. And I don't know, you can have a look on you can work out how much time that's going to save you for when I actually managed to be able to get the other one out. So probably not that long, to be honest. It's yeah, it's pretty time consuming. So yeah, hopefully this like encourages you to if you want to do it, it can be done. It's not. I'm not a tech. I'm not particularly good at this kind of stuff. I'm not even very dexterous. So yeah, anyone can go in and do this. Anyone can go in and take the trigger box out, and ultimately, as hopefully you've seen in my other video as well, you can kind of go in and start messing around with things, and you know, it tends not to damage too much. And as long as you keep all of the stock parts, if everything else goes wrong, you can just go back to the stock format. But I really hope that this has helped a few of you guys out with how to get the trigger box out. And after you've spent 10 minutes and you feel like you haven't made any progress, well, yeah, don't worry, I hadn't either. So, but look where we are now. Look what we've achieved. So, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Most of the people that watch this, especially if you watch this far, you've probably subscribed already. So, thank you very much for doing that. I really appreciate it. Take care.